Hello, dear learners. I am Professor M. Masoom Raza from Department of Library Information Science, AMU Aligarh. So, today we'll be covering a new area, that is project management. I told you about the fundamental aspects of sections, principles, and what are the library statistics, and even about the budgeting techniques and other aspects. But again, this project management technique, this will be quite useful in the libraries also. Basically, this is also one of the management technique, which is which actually helps them in finding out the best alternative and in calculating the cost benefit and cost effective analysis of a lot many designs, models, strategies, alternatives, and which ultimately the organization or the management, they have to decide which alternative, which design, which model suits their financial capabilities, and even from the point of view of excellence. Means if any organization can achieve the optimum in the least cost and in the best possible manner, that's the basic objective of management. So basically, whenever we apply any new tool or technique of management, the idea is that library is basically a spending organization, and a library cannot generate or is not a revenue generating organization. Other business models, if we talk about any business organization or industry, so at least they are revenue generating organizations. Whereas in case of library, it is a service oriented organization. And especially in the service oriented organization, people expect good services, but as such, if we see the revenue model of library, nothing is there. They have to depend on the grants. So when they have to depend on the government grants, or maybe little assistance from the donation, or maybe some philanthropist is giving something, that is on a rare basis, not okay. That is occasionally. It is not a perpetual income of the library. So definitely, whenever we have to design the program or we have to think of the different projects, so we have to keep in mind that if we can apply the principles underlying the concept of project management, probably we will be in a position to assess our projects and programs in a much better way, which will be able to give better options, better strategies at the least cost. So, with this objective, we'll try to see what is this concept of project management. So, I'll be covering the content under these heads. So, first we will see what the introduction is. Then I'll try to tell you about the project, and then we will see the components of it, and then we will try to see the project management cycle. So when I talk about the project management, what this project management is basically a specialized discipline that focuses on planning, organizing, and overseeing the successful completion of projects within constraints such as time, cost, and scope. It has evolved over centuries to become a critical function in modern business and organizational practices. The roots of project management can be traced back to ancient civilizations where large scale projects such as the construction of great pyramids of Gaza or the Roman empire required meticulous planning. Although formal project management methodologies did not exist at that time, so these monumental projects demonstrate early attempts to organize human efforts towards common objectives. During the Middle Ages and the Renaissance period, projects continued to play a significant role in the development of cities, infrastructure, and art. The construction of cathedral, castles, and city walls required skilled artisans, architects, and laborers working together under the supervision of project leaders. While project management practices were informal and decentralized, they laid the groundwork for future advancements in the field. The 20th century witnessed further advancements in the project management practices, particularly in response to the increasing complexity of the projects in engineering construction and defense industries. So during World War II, project management techniques such as critical path method and program evaluation review technique, that is commonly known as PERT and CPM, were developed to manage military logistics and production efforts effectively. In the post war era, the expansion of global markets and the rise of information technology fueled the demand for more systematic approaches to project management. The Project Management Institute, PMI, founded in 1969, played a crucial role in standardizing project management practices and promoting professional certification through its project management professional credentials. Today, the project management has become a ubiquitous discipline applied across diverse industries, including construction, engineering, information technology, healthcare, and finance. With the advent of these agile methodologies and digital tools, project managers have access to advanced techniques for planning, monitoring, and controlling projects in dynamic and fast paced environments. Basically, if you try to see what is a project, so the project is basically any attempt, temporary attempt, undertaken to create a unique product, service, or a result. Especially in case of library, we have different products, and those products are to be used by the patrons. So the library, they have to design different products, and means services has to be packaged in a different form, and it has to be presented in the form of a product. And that product, we have to see to it that the project is accomplished in the most cost effective, and it is efficient as well. So when we try to see the cost effectiveness and efficiency of any project, so what all is required, we will see the components of it and how it has to be meticulously designed, that we have to study in this area. So normally these projects are typically defined by objectives, scope, resources, and timelines. Means whenever we talk about the project, definitely every project should have the objective. Without objective, you cannot target anything, you cannot aspire for anything, and you cannot work on it. So definitely you require objective, scope should be there, as any project has, and definitely you require whatever resources are required, you have to mention the resources and the timeline also, and in how much time you are going to finish it. So, and that definitely they need a coordinated effort, and you have to coordinate the activities, tasks to achieve their goals. So how you will accomplish, what are your objectives, what are your scope, all this even we are doing in a library also. We design different projects, and those products, or you can say the programs, Ultimately their objective is to achieve the aim set by the organization, the goals set by the organization, targets set by the organization. So the library will design its program, they will design their project, or they will design their products in such a manner that ultimately the goal of the university or the college or the school is achieved. So the projects normally vary widely in size, complexity, and duration, and that can range from a small, short term to large. So a project can be a short term also, it can be a long term also. It can take lesser time, it can take more time, but depends how and what programs you have and what products you have and what project ultimately you have undertaken. And is that in line with the organization's objective or not? If it is in line with the organization's objective, and ultimately the accomplishment of the project will help in achieving the goal of the organization, that is our first priority. So coming to the components, what are the components here? You can see the scope management is there, time management is there, cost management is there, quality management is there, human resource management is there, communication management is there, risk management, procurement management, integration management, all these things are there. So you have to look into all these angles. So briefly I'll tell you what are these. So when we talk about the scope management, basically it involves scope planning, define the project scope, objectives, and deliver what you will be able to deliver. Then establishing clear boundaries to prevent scope creep. So first of all, try to define your project, develop a detailed scope statement that outlines what is included and excluded from the project. Then scope verification, obtain formal acceptance of the project which you are going to deliver from the stakeholders to ensure they meet the requirements. Then you have a scope control. Try to monitor and control changes in the project scope, assessing their impact on the project objectives and adjusting as needed. Second element is time management. So identify and define the specific tasks and activities required to accomplish project objectives. So activity sequencing is required. Try to determine the sequence and dependencies of the project activities to create a logical project schedule. Then estimate the time required to complete each project activity, considering factors such as resources, constraints, and risks. Then try to develop a project schedule that allocate resources and assigns timeframes for completing project activities. Then next, try to monitor and control the project schedule performance, identifying deviations, adjusting schedules, and managing changes to ensure timely project completion. Third element is cost management, which basically deals with the estimate and the cost has to be estimated associated with the project resources, activities, and the cost estimating techniques. Then try to develop a project budget that allocates funds to project activities and resources, ensuring costs are managed within approved budget. The next, even you have to monitor and control the project cost throughout the project life cycle, tracking actual expenditure, identifying variances, and implementing corrective actions to manage cost effectively. Next element is quality management. So definitely the quality standards and criteria for the project processes have to be defined clearly, ensuring that they meet stakeholders' requirement and expectations. Then implement processes and activities to ensure that project conform to the established quality standards and requirements. And then, as usual, monitor and verify the project to identify the defects, errors, or deviations from the quality standards, taking corrective actions to address and prevent quality issues. Then, human resource management. which deals with the staffing, means acquire, allocate, and manage project team members with the necessary skills, expertise, and experience to accomplish project objectives. Then try to foster a collaborative and supportive team environment, providing training, coaching, and opportunities for professional growth and development. And even try to assign the roles and responsibilities and facilitate communication and collaboration and manage team performance to ensure productivity and effectiveness. Then you have communication management, which deals with the development of communication plan that outlines the communication objectives, stakeholders channel, and frequency to ensure timely and effective communication throughout the project. Then share project information updates, status reports with the stakeholders through various communication channels such as meeting, emails, reports, and presentations. And then engage with the project stakeholders, listen to their feedback, address their concern, and keep them informed and involve in the project decision and activities. Next is risk management. So try to identify the risk, potential risk, and uncertainties that may impact project objectives, stakeholders, or outcomes. So how you can do the analysis? Assess the likelihood and impact of identified risk, prioritizing them based on their significance to the project. Then you have to do proper risk response planning, develop risk response strategies to mitigate, avoid, transfer, or accept identified risk, minimizing their potential impact on the project success. And then you have to continuously monitor and control and evaluate project risk, tracking their status, implementing risk response plans, and adapting risk management strategies as needed to manage project risks effectively. Then next is procurement management. So basically procurement management will try to identify the project procurement needs, develop a procurement management plan, and determine appropriate project management strategies. And then try to solicit bids or proposal from the vendors, evaluate vendor proposals, negotiate contracts, and select vendor based on project's requirement and evaluation criteria. Then try to administer contracts, manage vendor relationships, monitor vendor performance, and ensure their contract obligations are met throughout the project life cycle. And the next will be just close out contracts, evaluate vendor performance, settle disputes, and ensure that all contractual obligations are fulfilled before final contract closure. And the last of all is integration management. Basically, the integration management involves developing an integrated project management plan that aligns project objectives, processes, and activities to ensure overall project success. Then try to execute the project activities according to the project management plan, integrating and coordinating all the project components and resources to achieve project objectives. Then simply what next is to be done is to monitor the project performance, assess project progress against the project management plan, and take corrective actions to address deviations and ensure project alignment with objectives. And then close out the project by formalizing project completion, obtaining acceptance from stakeholders, conducting project reviews, documenting lessons learned, and transitioning project deliverables to stakeholders. And then the last, we'll be discussing about the project management cycle. And the project management cycle has 5 steps, you can see. We have initiation, and the moment you initiate, you need planning, proper execution, then monitoring and controlling, and then finally you can close it. So the initiation phase marks the beginning of the project and focuses on defining its purpose, objectives, and feasibility. The key activities in this phase include identifying stakeholders, conducting initial assessments to evaluate the project's viability, and creating foundational documents such as project charter or statement of work. And the next stage, planning. In this phase, detailed planning is conducted to establish the project's scope, objectives, timelines, resources, budget, and deliverable products. This phase is crucial for setting the groundwork for project execution and ensuring that all necessary resources and activities are identified and allocated appropriately. Next step is execution, and in this phase, the project plan is put into action. Project activities are carried out, resources are allocated, and communication and coordination among team members and stakeholders are essential. So products are produced according to the specifications outlined in the project plan, and progress is monitored closely to ensure that the project stays on track. Basic focus during this phase is on implementing the planned activities effectively and efficiently to achieve the desired outcomes. Next is monitoring and controlling. Basically, this is supervision. Throughout the project lifecycle, monitoring and controlling activities are conducted to track the progress, identify the variances, and take corrective actions as necessary. So this involves comparing actual performance against the project management plan. We have to see to it that the movement is according to the plan, and if it is not as per the plan, we will not be able to finish in proper time. So we have to keep on monitoring it, and if you monitor properly, the project will finish in time. And even sometimes managing changes and addressing issues and risks that may arise. And the goal is to ensure that the project stays on course and meets its objectives within the defined constraints. And the last part is closing. When everything is over, then the project needs to be closed. The closing phase basically involves finalizing all project activities and formally completing the project. This includes the products which are deliverable to stakeholders, obtaining project acceptance, closing out contracts, releasing project resources, documenting lessons learned, and conducting project closure activities. The closing phase ensures that all project requirements have been met and the project is formally concluded in a structured manner for a smooth transition to the next phase or project. So with this, we have seen what a project management is, what are the components, and what is a project management life cycle. So rest of the things we will be discussing in the next lecture. Thank you very much.